everyone. It's been 2 weeks since we've been in Austin, so I wanted to give you an update. We've been mostly doing things outdoors for many reasons, but one of which being that it's been gorgeous weather and we live in this neighborhood super close to awesome green space. Basically 5 minutes around the block and we reach this, which is a trailhead into the Barton Springs Greenbelt. Greenbelts are really common in Austin, though I haven't heard the term anywhere else. They're essentially nature areas with hiking, running, trails, just outdoor space, lots of trees. When we walk into this trailhead, we go maybe 5 minutes down through, some of these trails. Looks like a normal forest until we reach what I thought, looking at a map, was a creek, but is actually this giant creek bed canyon. It's dry right now. I have heard from some locals and on a new Austin podcast I've been listening to that this can flood, and then it, of course, gets water in it. Apparently, teenagers sometimes try to kayak it when it's flooding, which is apparently very much not a good idea, so do not condone that. But we've been enjoying it just for the walking and running space. Actually, to give you a bit of scale, I wanted to show just how big these canyons are because they're quite amazing. They also give you a sense for how hilly Austin is. It is extremely difficult to just run around here without being in a lot of pain. Rock climbers also use all of these canyons, which is amazing. I see people bouldering almost every time I'm over there, or whatever this form of rock climbing is. But yeah, we spent a lot of time there. We also this week took a bike ride over to the Colorado River and closer to the downtown of Austin. This is also where an area called Zilker Park is, which is a big park. I think South by Southwest is there every year. As I mentioned, Austin is very hilly, so biking there was a breeze because it was mostly downhill. Once we got there, we biked around Zilker Park and some of the trails for a little bit right along the Colorado River. And then we found this awesome lookout spot where we got to see, right before sunset, shots of downtown. There were people kayaking and paddleboarding on this river, which is actually Lady Bird Lake because it's dammed off on one side. A lot of interesting history about the dam. I might need to do a whole video on that because it, has really shaped Austin's history in many ways. Zilker Park also every Christmas time does a lot of Christmas lights and has a whole show there. This year it's all drive-through because of COVID, but according to the local paper, that has actually been a bonus for some of the people living in the nearby neighborhoods because they haven't had people parking or congesting their streets since there's really only one way to enter this trail of lights. So this was an awesome place. We'll definitely come back to it. But this weekend, we actually took ourselves across the river, so more in downtown area, to walk across Shoal Creek Trail. I was super interested about this because I, again, listened to an Austin podcast talking about the flooding of this trail, or of this creek, and another creek in 1915. And I guess there was another big 1981 flood as well. We also found a couple cool things along the trail, like this BMX park, another skate park, and then I made sure to see this tavern, which is apparently where the original Whole Foods was before it was flooded out in 1981. We also, a couple blocks from that, checked out what they call Graffiti Park at Castle Hill. It was all fenced off, so you couldn't actually get in here. My drone was able to, fly over a fence, but you can see why it's called Castle Hill. We also actually, a day later, ended up checking out some of the neighborhoods in this area. Again, I'll probably do another video about all the neighborhood browsing we've been doing, but some pretty cool spots in Austin. We weren't really that far from downtown. We had walked maybe 8 or so blocks up to get here. But at this point, we'd already seen a lot, so headed back home across the creek. Like I mentioned, some pretty interesting history about this creek. Actually, a lot of freedom colonies, which were freed slaves in the early 1900s, used to live along the creek beds because it was actually really not desirable land. And so it was somewhere that they could live and wouldn't have any problems with We also saw a couple bats under some of these bridges we went under, which was pretty awesome. So all that being said, we're loving Austin, enjoying the outdoors, and we'll keep you all updated on it even more soon.